edition of Yap Break Radio here live on YouTube vertical style course. I swear to God, this is my microphone, so just in case you don't think it's something else that should be deemed inappropriate via a live here on YouTube verticals, or I guess the short stream, whatever you want to call it. Let me fix up the green screen so you know it's serious. Lighting is on. No, I don't need lighting. I'm already pale enough. Where is it? Where are you? Ah, here we go. Get the green screen going so you know already it's officially time for, fuck, it's too far back now. It's officially time for Yap Break Radio, but god damn it. Who won't go that far back? Fuck. Hold on a second. Be patient. Hold on. There we go. Okay, I had to dig a little bit for it, but here we are though. Yes, Yap Break Radio, we're back. Who this is one here live on YouTube. At who this is one's a tag on the YouTube, on the socials, wherever you gotta find me at, except Snapchat. I explained that before in a small clip. I'm not gonna do that again because, well, you know, Snapchat basically got too naughty even for yours truly. And etc., and then some, and also beacons.ai / who this is one, I think also for all the links now officially, because what was the one I was using before? The popular one, I can't remember the name, shit. Drawing a blank. I think Linktree. I think that was the one. Linktree was the one I was using for the longest time. And I believe, I'm fairly responsible, I should know this, but I believe it was like $7, maybe $5 per month, just to kind of have all your links lumped up together there in one place to click on. Goddamn, I need to clean the shirt. To click on, you know, one little hub for all your links to live, little previews, sneak previews of what you got going on this link, that link, you know, the Twitch, the Spotify, whatever the fuck too. They got too expensive, honestly. And beyond inflation being a thing nowadays, which is like taking over the whole world, wherever you live, inflation's like really fucking with you and just grabbing you by the neck, be it the front or the scruff, whatever you're into, however rough you like it, you're getting snatched up by inflation, by taxes, etc., etc. I mean, Venezuela's a real thing out there. We're not going to talk about that here. No politics, no religion here, but I'm just saying, you know, Venezuela's, you know, that's a whole crazy situation going on right there, and however you feel about it. But Linktree was starting to charge, like, I think if I'd gone through with it and kept the auto pay, it would have been like $15 a month for Linktree. Just a little hub, Linktree, whatever the fuck, / whatever the tag is at this point, just to store your links on there. And thank goodness I remembered I had beacons, .ai, no promo, no free plug, nothing, just I'm mentioning literally what I'm using. I already had an account with them just because out of curiosity I was seeing, okay, at some point Linktree is going to cost too much for the sake of just having my links there and nothing beyond that. So it's not worth it. Leo Wilson -X1H. Hi in the comments. Hello. And hi to you. Thank you for saying hello. Thank you for chiming in. So yeah, Linktree got too expensive for even yours truly. I'm not trying to be cheap or really, you know, count my pennies or rub my coins like that, but still, it's like $15 a month just for literally something I could really, if I wanted to, do a WordPress or whatever them sites were they used to do back in the day. If you're old enough to remember, like you used to have your blog on there and park your link so you'd have that. I could do that myself. And thank goodness beacons.ai is free. So there's that free option, and for free $99, I think you get plenty enough with them, courtesy of the free tier. There's more stuff involved. I forget what exactly you get if you pay for beacons.ai, but I'm pretty good on the free tier. But that's all aside the point. Fuck Linktree, it got too much. It got to cost too much, even for yours truly. $15 a month for links, I'm not doing that. Like, I'll be honest. If I'm paying for something worthwhile, I'll admit openly that I pay for ChatGPT because I use it pretty often. Not for everything, but just more like maybe fine-tune an email. Maybe like I used it recently to go through my resume to kind of like, you know, trim the fat as far as like, I was one of those, I had like 2-3 pages of my resume, which really I had nothing super impressive like that besides work experience, but it helped me to trim the fat down to one page where it would make enough sense to be presentable enough if I was to present it anywhere besides where I currently work right now. Shout outs to Steve Peterson Q9U. Hello as well to you too. Hello right back to you, sir, brother, guy, dude. I don't want to assume, but hopefully I got it right. Just saying dude or whatever you want to be referred to as. All good here. No judgment. No need to explain either. Just whatever you like to be called, it's all good. Hello, hello. Hello to you and hello to Leo again. Appreciate it, fellas. Right, I was saying, oh yeah, right. So Linktree out the way and beacons.ai out the way and all that. I look forward to movies in the theaters still. I'm old enough to remember finally being young and looking forward to going to the movie theaters, seeing whatever was in theaters. Like I remember one of my best, more fond memories of movies was Titanic being in theaters for, I believe, if not a year, oddly enough, 9 months in the theater. Now I'm talking about back in 1997 when that came out. I think when did Titanic come out again? 96? I mean, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was 96 and it trickled over into 1997 because it was in the theaters for so long. Hello to Darshan Goda-D7X as well in the comments. Hello. That's one of my fondest memories besides getting beat up in the aisleway after the 1993 Super Mario Brothers movie because I convinced my mother to bring me to the theater. Of course, I was underage. I was 8 years old at that point, 1993. So she had to come with me. I got to be accompanied by an adult to even buy the ticket. Although, thinking back on it, right, PG-13, so I wasn't 13. I'm going to like raise some eyebrows if like an 8-year-old was like sitting in the theater alone. So I would have had to come accompanied anyway by the nearest responsible adult I have accessible to me, my mother. She hated the movie. I didn't like it either. It was nothing like I would have imagined a Super Mario Bros. Movie looking like back in 1993. It was really different from it, and not even like funny, bad, different. It was just bad, different. Not a good movie. It's funny to look back on and make fun of it and make the jokes and make the memes out of it, but otherwise it's like just totally far left field from what the source material would have been, the video game, innocently enough, but also just its own thing entirely, and I'm not a fan of John Leguizamo. So the least I get to see him, the better, because I don't like him, I don't find him funny, I don't find him entertaining. Apparently he's a good guy, or he gives back to communities and such. That's as much benefit I'll give him. But other than that, I got beat up afterwards by my mother, slapped up on the head when I still had hair, so my hair's going this way, my head's going that way, she's slapping the shit out of me for making us sit through the 1993 version of Super Mario Brothers. That's one memory, besides the fact that Titanic, I remember seeing that on the, whatever you call it, the thing outside the theaters, where they put the name of what's showing currently at that theater. Titanic was there for 9 months, for as long as someone probably would have gotten laid on night one, the premiere of Titanic. They wanted to be a good boyfriend, husband, whatever. Took the woman in their life to go see Leo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet? Yeah, she's Kate Winslet, not Kate Hudson. See, the first night it comes out, they do the deed because she loved the movie so much. She got so turned on by young Leo DiCaprio. He got some easily that night. 9 months later, as they're delivering the Titanic baby they had of all things, they catch it one more time just to see if it's the real deal, if he wasn't just doing it just to get a nut off, or if she just wasn't that turned on by Leo DiCaprio. That was the only excuse she even felt like fertile enough to have a baby that night. 9 months later, pops out, and wait a minute, this fucking thing is still in theaters? But that's Titanic talk. I did enjoy Titanic. I went back. When was the last time I saw Titanic? It was, I want to say at this point, 2 years ago now, was when I last saw Titanic, and I had the pleasure of seeing it in theaters. Sorry about that, got interrupted by a phone call. Of all things, do they not know Yap Break Radio is live? We don't compromise, we don't fucking settle for less here. As I was saying, Titanic, I got to see in the theaters a couple of years ago as I forget if it was a birthday or what. I think it was just a random, I'm being a good boyfriend to my girlfriend. I took her to the theaters. She never seen it in the theaters, apparently. So we got to sit through Titanic, the almost 3 hours of, but otherwise a very good, well spent, invested 3 hours with Titanic in the theaters on the big screen. So I appreciated that experience. That was good. But speaking of movies, and to the point of today's Yap Break Radio, today's live edition, of course, it's always live, Yap Break Radio. You can always watch it back afterwards if you're not able to tune in live or catch me live doing my thing, speaking, talking my shit, right? The whole point of today is we are inching, we are creeping along, we are crawling towards Oscar season. So, you know, when Hollywood likes to gather around and its finest black tuxedos, black dresses, hair done up all nice and fancy. I miss those days, believe me. Just to pat themselves collectively on the back. Instead of like a circle jerk, it's like a circle patting on the back. Everybody collectively getting together. Oh, you did such a great job making this movie look believable. And if you did an even better job making that girl's cleavage stand down the big screen like you did. Bravo, brava, applause, applause, applause. And gift bags and giveaways and, you know, people abusing the fact that they get to go up on stage and give their acceptance speeches of the awards they've been given or the Oscar they won, depending on what they done, what they accomplished on the big screen, to speak their piece as they feel like doing. Talk their shit or spew their narrative, even worse, which, you know, I'm not going to talk about here either because, you know, again, no politics, no religion here. We don't need to get none of that shit. The world is messy enough when it comes to those two topics. I can't say that name because I can't read it. Jacob? I'm going to guess Jacob Chai C7W, Pelon. All right, well, unfortunately for you, I do speak Spanish, so yo entiendo lo que tú quieres decir con pelón. Yo sé que soy pelón. So, no me estás contando nada nuevo. Or translated roughly, you call me bald, I know I'm bald. Obviously, I take the risk of the world seeing me as bald when I do this shit live. So, thank you, gracias for the obvious, gracias por lo obvio, whatever. With that out the way, Joe Pesci, I just saw a clip shared on Instagram, throwing it back to whenever he won an Oscar for Goodfellas, his big contribution from such a small man. A short and sweet speech from a short man who kept it very short and sweet when it came time for him to thank the world, the Hollywood collective brethren, for his performance, for being able to be afforded the chance of taking an award, an Oscar, for what he did in Goodfellas. A really good job, a really good movie if by any chance you haven't seen Goodfellas yet. 35th anniversary just passed of that classic film, which I go back to very often because, you know, Hendry, get your fucking shine box and all that shit. God, I'm gonna botch it, but the fucking line he does about funny, how am I a fucking clown, da 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 da, and all that, right? It's a classic film. A lot of good laughs, a lot of drama, a lot of, I guess you could say, action. There's a lot of people getting beat up and killed brutally, as did Joe Pesci at the end. Spoilers, but you had 35 years to watch it otherwise. But throwing it back to his acceptance speech for Goodfellas, he literally kept it to, as I can count right now from his speech, 6 words. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, right? Quote, "It was my privilege, thank you." Short and sweet, from a short man who gave anything but a short performance. Big time performance. For such a small stature of an individual. But I guess he kept it as short as his Oscar would be in comparison to him, because Joe Pesci, not the biggest guy, a big presence, absolutely. Hollywood legacy act, absolutely, but probably not that much bigger than an Oscar trophy would be, right? No offense to Joe Pesci, of course, but you know what I mean. But you gotta respect that because there was no subtle narrative, there was no, you know, pause for the cause, reminder, the ice caps are melting, the polar bears are eating each other. Well, this is like the early 90s, so like AIDS is real. Well, actually, the best advice to give at any point in time, even during the AIDS pandemic, or scare at least, was, put on a Jimmy hat, or wear a condom, be protective. If you're gonna have sex at least, Much success, less stress, and safe sex aplenty, however you choose to do that, in whatever order you prefer. But still, at least he had no narrative, at least he had no agenda, basically, because I get it. If you want to take advantage of one of the biggest stages at that point in time, at least, subjectively, the whole world's watching during the Oscars, at least when he won it back in the 90s, right? You are afforded that chance to kind of speak your piece or throw your narrative out there to see where it lands, who agrees, and because you're, an Hollywood A-list actor, a la Joe Pesci when he won an Oscar and shit, he could have taken advantage of being like, only you can stop forest fires because Smokey the fucking Bear said so stop being a cunt and, put out your fucking cigarettes fully when you dispose of them in the fucking woods or something like that. No, again, kept it very short, sweet, simple, as a humble individual as he seems to come off as he's always seemed to have been. It was my privilege, thank you. Grabs his thing, his fucking Oscar, walks off the stage. Who could get mad at that? Who could say, oh, that man is such an asshole? Oh, who's gonna be the one to be like, oh, Joe Pesci divided the whole crowd and said, if you don't agree with this and you're an ass, if you do agree with this and you're good with me, whatever. No, none of that shit. Because we got enough shit going on right now in real time in the world out there, splitting hairs, dividing the crowd, pun intended, splitting hairs, dividing the crowd like that. But to see that man do that back in the early 90s, when he could have had a lot to say, he could have said a whole lot, and he could have abused the fact that people liked him enough and remembered him fondly enough from Goodfellas in his role, and of course, My Cousin Vinny and all the shit he's done up until that point, not to put down the rest of his filmography. He chose not to do so. I don't know if he was necessarily shy, or maybe he felt like it wasn't about him that evening or for that moment. It was more about thanking everybody collectively for voting for him to get an Oscar, nominating him to get an Oscar or be up for grabs for an Oscar, and accepting said Oscar, walking off the stage. I hope, fingers crossed, I pray we can get a lot more of that in this year's installment of the Oscars. And of course, there's a thing with the Oscars. What is it? Starting 2029, they'll be on YouTube, so there'll really be no excuse to not catch it live at this point anymore. I mean, besides the fact, live TV and all that shit. I watch because I enjoy it. I watch because I like seeing the performances, and more importantly, I'm always keeping a very watchful eye of all the pretty ladies and what the fuck they're wearing on Hollywood's biggest night. Anna de Armas, Margot Robbie, Scarlett Johansson, Salma Hayek. Even though, wait, has Salma Hayek ever won an Oscar? I mean, those tits are award-winning. No question there. I don't know about an Oscar. Because if she didn't have those looks and those tits, I don't think she's making it past the casting call or couch with that accent. Let's be honest. I don't think she does. And I'm going to sound like I hate her, but I hope she doesn't, just because of that. Pretty privilege is real. Titty privilege is real. Let's just not abuse it that much as, genetically speaking, she has to her advantage. And then look at Sydney Sweeney. Is she not the it girl / the tit girl of the moment right now? How could you avoid those things? They're in your face the whole time. Even covered up, even layered on top of them. You still see those things. They're still predominant like that. For example, Christy. I was surprised how good she was in Christy and how much better Christy, the movie, was versus The Smash Machine, which was absolute shit to me. Now, it wasn't horrible, but, could have been a lot better had it been just about anybody else except Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson trying to gaslight us into believing that this was going to be his Oscar-winning role, or that was going to put him in a league of his own, practically, right? None of that. But the Oscars are coming up. Hopefully we can emulate more of Joe Pesci's style and humbleness, and just saying, it was my privilege, thank you, walk off stage. Don't make it about you, don't make it about your cause, your agenda, or taking advantage of, well, I don't agree with who's in the White House right now, for example. Or, well, I don't think we should be doing this and that and the other on foreign land or territory, etc., this, that, the other. I get it. It's broadcasted to still enough people, even though the viewership over time has gone down for the Oscars of all things. Let's not abuse it though. Let's not make it about. It's already pretentious enough to make a whole night about people doing different things, winning awards for different parts of the movies, their contributions to it. Maybe make it about the lesser folk, like the production staff, the editors, the this, the that, the others. The big names will always get their time, their money, more importantly, for promoting the movies. Good or bad, they get paid either way. But then what about the people on staff playing the back, behind the lens, behind the camera? They gotta depend on good or bad movie being made, a movie being made. So they can still get paid, they can still get hired, they can keep a salary coming in, make a living, better yet said. Even if they won an Oscar for best makeup, best whatever, no one's looking for their Oscars. They could fucking drag it around with them like 3 6 Mafia did when they won that Oscar for the best original score. I forget exactly what it was. Shouts to 3 6 Mafia. But they could drag it around with them. They could put it on a chain like 3 6 Mafia did. And people are still going to question, well, okay, you got an Oscar, but for what? Because I don't know who you are. I don't know your face. I don't remember you from fucking da-da-da-da, whatever, on the big screen. I digress. Shorter than usual, Yap Break Radio. This is going to be the end for me today just because I got stuff to do. I got to make the rounds. I got to go out here. I got to go here, there, A, B, C, D, down Avenue Z, all taking place in Brooklyn, of course. I'm Who This, at Who This Is One, here live for Yap Break Radio, at Who This Is One, here on the YouTube. Please, if you haven't already, like, comment, share, subscribe, follow, etc., whatever the fuck you got to do with it, whatever you choose to do with it, with the information I just gave to you, I shared with you. At Who This Is One. That's the tag here on YouTube. If you haven't subbed already, I appreciate it if you have. And if you haven't, or if you want to drop in and just call me bald in Spanish, thinking I'm not going to understand what you're saying, well, go fuck yourself otherwise. But you can still sub also. You can still do me that favor at least. Asswipe. But otherwise, at Who This Is One for the socials, all of them except Snapchat. I appreciate y'all. Catch you next time. Not sure exactly when the next Yap Break Radio will be, but there's a good chance it might be tomorrow. But if you sub to the channel, I'll be able to post it on here on YouTube so you can know and be well in advance aware when I do so. Appreciate you all for saying hello, which is a lot of people's favorite thing to do here. Maybe for the sake of me reading the names or something, but whatever. Appreciate it. Thank you. I'll catch you next time. Yap Break Radio. We out this motherfucker.